Hi everybody, in this lecture we are going to be covering comparison and logical operators. So comparison and logical operators are used to test for true or a false value. We already saw that when you do some kind of a comparison, let's say 5 is less than 6, the answer would either be a true or a false in the previous Booleans lecture. Now, comparison operators are used in logical statements to determine if equality or difference between variables or values. So let's try to see a list of comparison operators that we have, and I've taken the liberty to actually comment it out and give you the complete list out here. So let's put it to use and see some examples. So let's close this output, open the console, and let's start with console.log, and let's say we have a variable x is equals to 5. Now we'll do all the comparisons based off x is equals to 5 and check what happens. So the first thing that we will check is x is greater than some value. So let's try and see an example and see if x is greater than a number 8 and x is greater than 4. So x is 5 and this is 8. So this will return a false, and x is greater than 4, which is 5 is greater than 4, so it's true. Let me also put in some comments so it's easier for us to follow. Okay, let's run this and see. So x is greater than 8 is false, x is greater than 8 is true. Similarly, we can also check these conditions with the less than sign. So let's just change the sign and see what it returns. The answer should revert. So this will become 4, this will become 4, this will become less than 4, this will become less than 4. Let's try to clear and run. So 5 is less than 8, true. 5 is less than 4, it's false. So you can see the less than and the greater than sign can be used to check the conditions if a number is greater than or less than. Just like we have greater than and less than, we also have something called as a greater than equal to. What does that mean? So which means that you can check for a greater than or equal to. Let's try to make the value as equal to 5. So let's say if I make this value as 5, in this scenario, it will return a true. The reason being, we are checking for greater than or equal to condition. Now, if I do the same thing just for the greater than sign, it will still return a false, because if it's greater than 5, which means it has to be 6. So you can see if just greater than 5 is checked for, it will return a false. If we check for greater than or equal to 5, it will return a true, because the value of x is 5. Just like we have greater than and equal to, we also have less than and equal to. So let's just revert the signs. Less than, less than, less than. And again, in this scenario also, less than equal to 5 will also be true, because it is also checking for a condition of 5, x is equal to 5. So this is as good as saying x is less than 5 or x is equal to 5, and that's why the condition is true. So that was the greater than and less than signs. Now let's check the equal sign. Let's copy this out here and make this an equals. So let's say this x is double equals to x is double equals 8. In this scenario, it should return a false, because x is not equal to 8. Let's also check for x is equal to 5. And we already saw that x is equal to 5 should return a true, because we checked for greater than and less than equal to signs. So x is equal to 5 will return a true. What if I have x is equals to 5 in string? With that I mean is, instead of 5, I just give a 5. So before even getting the answer, I would tell you that when we put a string in a comparison to another number, the JavaScript will convert it to a number as long as it is a number. So 5 is definitely a number. In this scenario, we will have 5 is equal to 5. But what if I had something like FIVE? In this scenario, it should fail, because JavaScript will fail to convert it to a number. And that's why by default it will return a false. Remember the non-real values for Boolean test? Yes, that's the reason for it. So just like equals, we also have equals type. What do I mean by that? We will check for equals condition as well as equals type. Let's say equal. Now in this scenario, equals to 8, equals 5 and equals 5. So the previous example, this answer was true. Let me run it again. So x is equal to 5 will return a true as per this, because JavaScript internally converted 5 to the numeric 5. Now if you check for a type as well, which is 3 equals sign, this will fail because in this scenario x is a number and 5 is a string, and that's the reason you can see it as a false. Just like equals, we also have a not equal. So here, instead of checking an equal condition, we will say not equal. So therefore, x is not equal to 8 is actually true, and x is not equal 5 will return a false because x is 5. And x is not equals to string of 5 will also return a false. In this scenario, if I change this to an 8, it will return me a true. You can see that. Let me change this to 8. The answer is true. And just like we have equals condition, we also have a triple equal to sign, which is equal in value and type. So it will also check for equal in not equals in value and type. So it is not equal and type. So let's check the condition for not equal value or not equal type. In this scenario, we will first check for not equal to value, which means we'll check if 5 is equal to 5, and if it is not equal to 5, in that scenario it will return a true, but if 5 is equal to 5, it will return a false. Or not equal type. What do I mean by that? Which means if the type, let's say left hand side is a number and right hand side is a string, in that scenario it will return a true, otherwise it will return a false. So it's contradicting what we had for triple equal to. So let's try and see this example where I have x is not equal to 8. In this scenario, it will be true because x is 5 and 8 is the value. So 5 is definitely not equal to 8. If I check for x is not equal to 5, in this scenario, it will return a false because x is actually not equal to false. And when x is not equal to 8, in this scenario, x is not equal to the value 8, and therefore it will return a true. You can see this. Now what if I did an x is not equal to the value of 5 in the string format? Let's try to run this and I'll show you the result. The answer will be true. Yes, the reason for that is if you just check x is not equal to 5, it will return you a false. But you're checking that type should also not be the same, which means the left hand side in this scenario is a number and the right hand side is a string. And that not equal to sign is met, which means number is not equal to a string meets, and therefore you get a true. Now you do an OR condition, which means if x is not equal, if either this condition is true or this condition is true, then return a true. I know, a lot of truths. But I hope you understand this. If not, definitely let me know your questions in the Q&A section and we can, discuss it in detail.